earthquake. 80,000 voices.
Hello there, Nigerian football fans. How you doing? How are you feeling after this game? Disappointing. So for me right now, I think we have to raise our hands up to say World Cup qualification yet again. It's done. That's not happening this year. So maybe in the next 4 years, and it's a shame seeing the squad that you have, seeing the quality of players that are in the team. They're not going to the World Cup. It's so super disappointing in my own opinion. Super disappointing. And Eric Chill messed things up from the start. He just spoiled everything right off the bat. Looking at the starting lineup, make changes to a winning team. When you didn't need to make those changes. Because even if you're saying some players are tired, you needed to get them rested. They You had people that could come up the bench and take their spot and have the same sort of, what I say, style, and have the same sort of style. You had Bruno Yimachi. Even if you say, okay, he's tired, you want him to rest, recover, which will be funny anyway because this is the last game, right? In this qualification cycle. What do you do? What do you do? You went there and you went there, dropped him off. You didn't play Felix Agu. So Felix Agu just traveled for nothing, right? And you played Calvin Bassey. That was very, very good at centre back playing in the game versus Rwanda. Benjamin Frederick showed excellent partnership, beautiful partnership, I would say, with alongside Calvin Bassey. What did you do? No, I'm going to play Chus Ekong. Now, anyone can score an own goal. And I know everyone would blame Chus Ekong. Yeah, blame him 100%. You should be clearing that with his other foot, going the opposite way. Because I always find it strange why a ball is crossed into your own 18-yard box, and you're using the foot that will send that ball towards the goal. So it's always a bit odd for me. But stopping there, I think, would not allow us understand what fully went wrong, right? This one in the chat, I guess, is a South African person. Was Rod clear handball. So I know that's going to be there, and of course there was no handball on Ademola Lookman. So for fair play, South Africa qualify. You're mainly going to qualify, so Benin Republic can do something. Let's see how that happens. And so Nigeria is out of the qualification running. You have 11 points. The best point total you can get is 17, and South Africa already on 17 points. So with a draw, once South Africa draws in a game, that means you're out of it already. And now, if Benin Republic even wins South Africa, it doesn't work in your favor even. So, what qualification is done? It's done. So, back to the point I was making about, why that goal came about. Of course, the own goal, just Ekong, 100%, that was his fault. Yeah, 100% the own goal. But why did it come about? You could see the pitch, rough pitch, bad pitch, with all the good pitches in South Africa. They said that's what we're going to play. Fair play. That's art in football. It happens. Countries do it. Now, why would you play Cyril Dessers? Now, you played both Cyril Dessers and Tolu Arokodare in that game versus Rwanda, right? And what happened? Dessers failed the test. Tolu Arokodare passed the test. He passed the test. He scored a goal. He set up other players as well to score. But what did you do? You say no. Reward for playing well, reward for scoring a goal is you sit on the bench. That's your reward. For scoring the goal, for being very crucial to the country winning that game, your reward is bench. Cyril Dessers that played poorly, so poorly that you had to take him off after just bringing him on. You rewarded him. His punishment for bad play was a sack in a very crucial game. It's not like this is a friendly match or the first game in the World Cup qualifying series. A penultimate game, you play Cyril Dessers. And it wasn't like you were attempting to pass the ball on the ground. And I understand why you don't pass the ball on the ground, right? Because The pitch is poor. You play long balls. To who? To who? Sometimes in football, we get bogged down with X's and O's, inverted fullback, right-sided defender, jumping, kicking goalkeeper, and forget that it is a sport. Essentially, at its bare bones, it is sports. Mano a mano. I want to enforce my will on you. I want to get you to move from here to here. I want to head that ball and you do nothing about it. At the heart of it, that's what football is. You have someone who's a 6'6" giant that would have easily won those long balls you were playing. He said, no, I'm not going to play him. What I'll do is I'll keep him on the bench and play Cyril Dessers. Beautiful. And some people say, oh, we see what we are building. What are you building? A coach that isn't smart enough to know when to do trial and errors shouldn't be a coach, shouldn't believe in your team. That's the honest truth. Now, I don't care whether you're Nigerian, Italian, German, English, whatever nationality you are, if you don't have the ability to understand when you experiment with your starting lineup, then you shouldn't be coaching anything. Forget how you want to set the team up to say you want to play some sexy kind of football, and take wingers and play Ademola Lookman as a striker. Defend that. For those of you who are ready to defend Eric Chill, defend that. Ademola Lookman as a striker or support striker, whatever. I need you to defend that. Ademola Lookman won African Player of the Year, played as a left winger, but play him as a striker. Why? You've got strikers already. That's the funny thing, right? You've got strikers. If you had a situation where, Victor Osimhen is out injured, Todaro Kodare may be suspended for this game, there'll be yellow cards, then you begin to understand, okay, maybe I tweak the game a bit here and there, I have to make do what I have. No, you had a fit striker who are just giving you your victory against Rwanda and you dumped them on the bench. Now people will say this, but he came on in the second half. The question I'll ask you is, do you understand African football? How many times have you seen teams go a goal down in African football and come back to win? I'll wait a few seconds. How many times have you seen in African competition, one team scores and the other team comes from behind? Even the last World Cup Nigeria missed out on, right? It was 1-1 draw, right? But the draw wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. That's why. It wasn't because we actually lost the game. It was because it wasn't good enough. And Cyril Dessers, Eric Chill has mocked around with this. So for me, the blame goes everywhere. I don't think Nigeria's going to qualify for the World Cup. That's clear. It's not going to happen. I wanted it to happen. And some people say, silver lining. There isn't any silver lining. None. Zilch. Zero. There isn't any. Because we know what the NFF is all about. It's not like they're going to sit there, we missed out on the World Cup. How can we miss out on the World Cup to a team that is supposed second best team is South Africa? How can we miss out? Let's start planning, let's start getting, the coaches in, improve grassroots system, get players through the ranks, look at our dual nationals like Trevon Sanusi, Rio Ugumoha, and bring them into the fold, try to integrate them. We know that's not going to happen. So that question of, silver lining, it's not there. It's just not there. You can shift that under the carpet. You had Chukwueze, very good 1v1, gummed on the bench. You brought him on with 15 minutes to go. People say, he's keeping them on the bench so they can come and be game changers. And I said it. I said it in the watch along. I said it, even in a tweet. I said, the moment you are having to bring someone off the bench to be a game changer, that means something has gone really, really wrong with your starting lineup. And that means you made a mistake with your starting lineup. And he did. And he did. He did this in the Zimbabwe game, drop points. Played online, not at left back. To what end? Why? You have two left backs available. Felix Agu, Bruno Imachi, available on the bench. Played none of them. Played by Samuel at right back. This game as well, what did you do? 2 fit left backs, dump them on the bench. Calvin Bassey, that played so well for you, what I'm going to reward you with is I'm going to shift you to left back. So what is the silver lining? People want to say, oh, the way he plays his football. What football? You're playing players out of position. You're playing players out of position. And football in Africa is pretty simple, just like everywhere else in the world. If you play your best players in their best position, you tend to win games. And even if you want to experiment, you want to come with a new style, you want to twist this, you want to twist that, you want to try a goalkeeper, as your new deep line playmaker. You don't do it in a World Cup qualifying fixture. Because I want everyone to maintain the same energy. Because when I say Filippo Telle should be invited to the national team, oh, you can't give a 26-year-old a debut in the World Cup qualifying game. You can't experiment with your team. But turns out, Eric Sekou Chill, he doesn't even need new players to bend the team around. The blame goes all around. The NFF, you have a large portion of the blame to bear as well. This is not a blame. This is not a situation where it's one person. The blame goes around. And for me, the benefit of thinking the way I think is I'm free. Anyone is at fault for anything. I say they're at fault for it. I don't protect anybody. I don't say, oh, this no. The NFF, you knew that Jose Peseiro wasn't your man going forward. You knew you wanted to let him go, but you let him take the first game at least of the World Cup qualifiers. When someone wants to leave a job, he's not going to give you 100%. If you have a maid at home or you have someone that doing a plumber comes to do a job and he knows that, okay, you want to sack him, he's not going to give you his best. That's simple. But the NFF, what we're going to do is, yes, we're going to keep him. Right? And then wasted all the time, and got us Finidi George with his horrible style of play. Finidi George, legend, absolute legend of the game. 100% legend. But as a coach, absolutely atrocious. Right? I know a lot of people want to hide behind the thing of, oh, but Victor Osimhen made his statement, but other than that, he had Port Onuachu, a 6'7" striker, center forward, looking for a ball in midfield like was a defensive midfielder. You read the room. Of course, FIFA is a corrupt institution, clear as day. Even from those games, you could see Ademola Lookman scoring a glaringly onside goal. They said it was offside. So what should that tell you? That should tell you that what you do is you play your absolute best players in their absolute best position. That's what should tell you. But no, we won't do that. We'll play players out of position and mess around with crucial games. If you qualify for the World Cup, you've got friendly matches to play. So in those friendly matches, you can twist your team, you can bend your team about, you can try this, you can try that, but not in a World Cup qualifying game. And not a crucial game you have to win. You knew you have to win that game. You knew it. So tell his philosophy, style of play. If your philosophy doesn't tend towards winning, then what are you doing? If your philosophy, my philosophy, style of play, yada yada yada, you are losing. Fine, Augusta, stop blaming the man. I don't know ball. Okay, you know ball. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. You don't know ball. Okay, I agree. Clap for yourself. But the centre back play left back. Is that wisdom? Is that wisdom? Man, I need to bring this up here. You don't. South Africans, of course, they can say what you want to say. It's your time. The guy has undermined himself. Don't undermine your coach. He has undermined himself, not me. Not me. Am I the one that played players out of position? Am I the one that played players out of position? Am I the one to play players out of position? Undermine your coach. I'm not undermining anybody. He played players out of position. I'm not here to talk about. You can say all the words you want to say. Put your chest up. That's it. Banter. That's the beauty about football. Right? Yeah. I'll put your chats up. Right. That's the beauty of it. You win. You banter. That's it. Fine. Beautiful. No worries about that. Where is the win you're all hoping for? Fair play. Joe Phil say, "Oh God, stop blaming this man. You don't know football. You're always criticizing. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. You know football, right? Joe Philly, you know football. A centre back plays at left back. That's the football you know, right? That's the extent of the football you know. That's the extent of football you know, right? You play to a striker doesn't perform in one game. The reward you give to him is to start him and bench a player that scored for you. That's the extent of football you know. I always criticize. What do you mean? What do you mean? When I praise players, talk about young players, talk about players in the team, I praise them for doing well. You know football, Joe Phillips. You do know football. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. I'm really upset today. I am upset because there's a deep sentimental reason I wanted Nigeria to qualify for the tournament. So anyone coming here to tell me, "Oh, I don't know football," clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Clap for yourself. Yeah, South Africa, kudos to you. You've qualified for the World Cup. Or at least Nigeria isn't qualifying for the World Cup. So this is football. You have the right banter, laugh. That's it. But for anyone to come here and tell me I'm undermining the coach, he played players out of position for no reason. For no reason. Say the new coach did a great job, the Nigerian team did well, but you are playing log leaders. Whatever. Yeah. If you play your players in their rightful position and they struggle and they still are not able to deliver, then as a coach, you can say, I play players in the rightful position. Ademola Lookman as a striker, when have you seen it done? When have you seen it happen? No, let's be 110 with this. When have you seen Ademola Lookman play as a striker? For Everton, for RB Leipzig, for Atalanta? Where? I'm the one undermining the coach. Really? Really? Because I told him to play players out of position. The thing about me is that I say it as it is. Some days it might be sweet to people, some days it might not be. So don't say South African best football, got best football now. All right, that's your time. You got the points you wanted. You took the team to one of the worst pitches I've ever seen in my life. Fair play. Dark arts in football. It's normal to develop a league before you start comparing yourself to South Africa. It's not even a rivalry. It's just the administrators and the way people choose to do things. It says, Zizo says, don't undermine your coach. That guy has done well. Whatever. Everyone has the right to their opinion. That's the beautiful thing about football, right? Yeah. But what I don't want to take is someone coming on here to tell me I don't know football. I like criticizing. What do you mean? Am I the one that put that lineup up? Am I the one that played players out of position for no reason? If for whatever reason you had maybe, you had maybe a Felix Agu injured, Bruno Yemachi nursing a knock, then okay, I get why you would play players out of position. And I say, if this was the first game of the World Cup qualifying round, right? Okay, Senzo, 7 new young players you have fielded on this intense game. They did very well. Will go a long way in the World Cup. Well, let's see if you do. Let's see if you do. Once again, congratulations, you qualify for the World Cup. And right now, and like I said, you have to do your own job. You have to do your own job. So, whatever. And then this one says African, come off it, come off it. You've got the points you need, to possibly qualify, but come off this nonsense. Come off this nonsense. Who's your coach? Where's the coach from? Where's the coach from? Leave all these issues. Leave all this Europe. Leave that. Leave that. If I give the country a schedule before, let's say, if I give the country a schedule before the competition, NFF had 3 coaches for World Cup, which doesn't make sense. Fair point. This is your coach did well, your coach has done well, blame the NFF. For me, I've said it, the blame goes around. The blame goes around. This is not one thing where one person has the blame, right? You blame the NFF. First off, you knew after the World Cup, the African Cup of Nations final, right? That you were not going to go with Jose Pesero. You knew it. You knew it. But for whatever reason, you said, wow, we're going to keep him in the job still. You're going to keep him in the job still. And then when you had to change him, who did you bring? Finish the job with no track record. And this is the thing people keep, conflicting issues with. Yes, Finish the Judge legend. I watched the guy play football, right? Top player in his time. Coach, not so much. Is it the one you want to hire for your team? Not so much. Let's go to bed with all this. Go to bed with all this. Go to bed with all this nonsense. Go to bed. Otherwise, it will change clothes like underwear. Go to bed with all this. Go to bed with all this. Ugu says Big Pasha. Go back to kitchen says Big Pasha. For me, you could smell the room. See, I'm not. No, who is calling of Seaman? Say leave Seaman out of this. Of course, Seaman has nothing to do with this. No one should be calling him here. It has nothing to do with it. Because even the striker that was available, Finidi chose for whatever reason to make him do donkey work. Donkey work. And the difference between Nigeria and Cameroon is those big heads. So whatever you're saying, that's for you. And develop your league free advice. Okay, good on you. My brother, this is the first time on your channel and you made absolute sense. We messed up from the beginning. It's unfortunate we don't have serious people. That is the problem. That is the problem, my brother Ikechukwu. That is the problem. People are not obsessed with winning. Because when you're not obsessed with winning, you begin to look at, oh, let me please this class of 94 guy. Let me bring this Ahmed Musa that should have been retired that should be retired. Let me have a way to have him in the team and all those things. So everybody is culpable. If you keep your head on your shoulders, you will see it. Everybody is culpable. The NFF. My brother, you said it all. Nigeria is serious. NFF is about corruption and tribalism. Yeah. Alhassan Yusuf played 3 games for an MLS team. No, nothing. But he somehow was in a World Cup qualifying team for Nigeria. On one hand, if you look at it on paper, you can say, oh, this coach did well. He found himself in a top spot. But what did you do with the time you had? And one thing I said is, I maintain this energy. If you know me, I maintain this energy for any team I'm talking about. Play players in rightful positions. Okay, for instance, Chelsea. I talk about Chelsea sometimes, right? I looked at Pochettino. Pochettino would when he was Chelsea coach, he would play Disasi at right back. Disasi that athletically is a very slow centre back. Play him at right back, he gets exposed. People say, oh, he's trying to build. So what are you trying to build? Playing players out of position. So the same thing with Eric Chell. The same energy I maintain with Finidi George, the same energy I'll maintain with Eric Chell. Even if you get Jose Mourinho today and Pep Guardiola tomorrow, and they decide to play a goalkeeper as a left back, I will say it. I will say it. So South Africans, top one to you. Possibly you need probably a draw or about 4 points to qualify for the World Cup. Top marks to you. You qualify for the World Cup after over 10 years. Fair play. Fair play. Fair play. Ikechukwu says, I'm glad we are not going to the World Cup. The men's team is useless because they're not ready to die for the country. That's one side of it. But on the other side of things that we must look at, Ikechukwu, one thing we should look at is When you play a player out of position, even the world best players, you play them out of position, they're going to struggle. And especially on an absolutely horrible pitch, they're going to struggle. They're going to absolutely struggle. I maintain this energy for every team I talk about football. Every team, every coach, whether you're white, green, black, whatever your race, whatever your cultural heritage, if you're not doing the business, I say it, you're not doing the business. So some people might want to kiss the ring of Eric Chael, not me. Some people might want to bow down to NFF, not me. I'll say things how they are. You play players out of position, you should be criticized. You should be. You should be. NFF, they can't, they're not blameless. They are the chief protagonists of Nigeria's failure to qualify for the World Cup. They are the chief. They are the main reason. They are the main reason. Because rather than going out there and getting the absolute best coach immediately after the World Cup, after the AFCON final, you monkeyed about. You mocked around, wasted time while we're dropping draws. If Eric Chair was your man, you could have got him long time ago. Maybe you would have won a couple of more games than your Finidi Georges and your Jose Peseros. After the AFCON, you saw Uzoho wasn't good enough. But what did you do? No, even prior to the AFCON, you knew Uzoho wasn't good enough. Yeah, you shoved him into the World Cup qualifiers. And the problem is, no lessons will be learned. So that's why when people say, probably there's a silver lining, there's something to learn. No, there's not. Because after this, you're not going to say, maybe we shouldn't invite the player for a super crucial game who has played only one game for an MLS team. Maybe we shouldn't. You won't see that. You just won't. Watch the AFCON. Just watch. When AFCON comes around, mark my words, you will see a name in that list that you'll be wondering, how on God's green earth is this person on this list? So the blame goes around. The blame goes around. In the case of the Robs, no structure, lack of technical manager, NFF will never, they will never, ever, they will never learn. So for me, I had a particular reason close to my heart. That's why I wanted to watch. I wanted Nigeria to qualify for this World Cup. But if it's a question of, they're going to learn something, they won't learn anything. They will not learn anything whatsoever. They will not learn. They will not learn. You had players who could match the physical contest this was going to be. And the South African brethren there said, they played 7 young players. But for Nigeria, we keep making excuses. Uche Crisantos, he's not ready to play in the distant in World Cup qualifier. But he keeps someone that has been winning man of the match awards, player of the month awards in La Liga. Dump him on the bench. So make that make sense. I looked at the lineup. I shook my head. I said, what is Cyril Dessers doing there? Not because he's a bad player, but because he just didn't suit the way Nigeria needed to play to win the game. The pitch was horrible. I'm not going to complain. South Africa, whatever way you want to qualify that is sort of within the rule books, go ahead, do it. You already have Infantino in your back pocket anyway, so that's fine, right? So give poor pitch, no problem. But as the coach of the Nigeria football team, you look at the pitch, instantly you know this ball is going to go long. And actually, he got that bit right. We will go long. He got that bit right. But then the ball is going long to who? Cyril Dessers. Cyril Dessers will only function in a team where you have a number 10, a silky number 10 that can, give those silky passes between the lines, behind the defender, so that Cyril Dessers can make the runs on the other side, slot in, finish. Of course, he can thrive in that situation. But when it comes to we are going to get physical now, we are going to do muscle for muscle, bone for bone. We are going to jam ourselves. Now, Cyril Dessas isn't that one. And we saw it. He was fouling players. Not because he wanted to, but because he was trying to match up to the physical battle. And lots of times when people can't match up to the physical battles, they end up fouling the opponent. People say, oh, we need magic from the bench. If South Africa were in need of a win, then yeah. Because okay, but they're in need of best case fantasy situation win, but a draw perfect. A draw perfect. And you just set the team up for them. He will come up in the interview and say, my team is my team, my player, my player. Fair. Fair. If the NFL wants to keep him, okay. But just like I would say with any European team, any club team, any football I watch, don't play players out of position. The reward is next to nothing. The reward you think you're going to get is next to non-existent. I say it about Chelsea. If you watch this channel when I talk about Premier League, I say it about Manchester United. So it's not a question of he's only criticizing Africa. I say it about any coach. You look at Manchester United for a second. Bruno Fernandes, he's a good player on the ball, but he cannot exist in a two-man midfield where you have to go box to box, box to box. He cannot exist. Ruben Amorim sticks to it. He sticks to it, and that's why they're suffering. So the same energy, and maintain it right here, and maintain that same energy, right? You played Ademola Lookman as a striker, and you were a football person, and you look at it and say, oh yeah, he made the right choice. You look at that and say, oh yeah, he made the right choice. Ademola Lookman as a striker. Really? 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 And anyone that wants to come up with this excuse of, oh, but he sees them in training every day. So forget about everything that Ademola Lookman has done in his career here. And then 2 days, he sees them in training. Oh, he's going to play him as a he's going to play him as a striker. Why do you do it? Like I said, if maybe the person has an injury, like your main striker has an injury, and you have to replace somebody and you don't have any other striker, okay, I see the reason. Say Oluwaseun says, I don't know why they make him coach Chan Eagles when he should be preparing for these games. For me, I don't get it right. And I think he's given Nigeria the worst outcome in Chan, or one of the worst anyway, in terms of didn't even go out of the group stage. Didn't even go out of the group stage. Right? I did a preview. I said this. I said the key for Nigeria. Okay, easy, ego, smile, whatever. South African people trying to speak pidgin. That's nice. That's nice. That's lovely of you to see. Go watch football Inter channel. Those guys understand African football. Really, they do. Okay, all right. Farid says what? Copy from us, South Africa, and develop your league. What are you talking about? Yes, develop. People keep saying this. You're conflating issues. Should Nigeria make her league better? Sure they should, right? Sure they should. But is it the league issue? That's why they didn't qualify for the World. That's why right now they're not qualifying for the World Cup. How about Egypt? Most of their players that play for their team do they play for the Egyptian? Do they play in the Egyptian league? Morocco? Senegal? do they have their main players playing in their domestic leagues? Yeah, developing your domestic league is important, but that's a different discussion altogether. Brazil, how many of their players play in Brazil? So it's a nice thing to talk about. Yeah, in another video, we'll talk about that, developing the league, grassroots, and all that. Yeah, but that is not why you're not qualifying for the World Cup. It's not. It just isn't. It's a nice topic to talk about, but that is not the point. That's not the reason. The reason is around the NFF, the way they run. This is what I would just beg and say, please do your own bit. Do your own bit. Now, Farid says Nigeria has talent but lack good administration. I would agree with you on that one, 110%. 110%. Kingsley Ken says the current coach is not to blame. I blame NFF for appointing Finidi out of sentiment. It backfired. We are paying daily for it. Yeah, I agree with you to a large extent in that regard. But I think Eric Chell, he still has blame. He just still has blame. He does. I'll talk about I'll talk about Chelsea, for instance, right? People say, oh, Chelsea, they sign a lot of young players, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, they lack experience. That's why they can win. Okay, that's a larger point. You're right in that regard. But on the flip side of things, young squad, but you start playing players out of position, does it not make it worse for you? It does. It does make it worse for you. Same thing with this coach. Yes, NFF, they mocked around. They mocked around, played around with Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup, kept the coach that should have been sacked right after the AFCON in a job, brought Finidi, that should have, that should have been appointed in the first place because of loyalty to class of '94. Because watch it, each time they're looking to hire a homegrown coach, class of '94, maybe they go back to Olise, maybe they go back to Siasia. You never see any other person get that gig. Right? So they have that blame. But when you are a coach, irrespective of what happened prior to you, you have that responsibility to put out the best team possible to do your own job. So if at the end of the day, let's say you win against South Africa, you win your next game, and South Africa hold on to their 3 points and still qualify. Okay. As a coach, you can say, okay, I did my best, I did what I had to do, but because of how you mocked around, earlier on in the qualifying stages with the coaches you were employed, that's why you've not qualified. Then I'm sure a lot of Nigerian fans out there watching this stream will say, yeah, he did his bit. But he did this thing, and why it's upsetting to me is he did it when he didn't have to do it. He did it when he did not have to do it. I can understand. Maybe you have Bruno Yemachi injured, out for 2 weeks or whatever. Maybe Felix Agu, 2 yellow cards suspended. I can understand, okay, all right, switch player out of position, make do, play center back and left back, you kind of get what you're doing, so that because you're in a hard place. But no, Felix Agu fits. Bruno Yemachi fits. Even if you want to say, oh, Bruno Yemachi played the game, how many did they go against Rwanda? Felix Agu, ready, available. Unity Cup, we all saw what he did. So we got the tester of what of what he's able to deliver. You rammed him on the bench, cuffed him to the bench. No minutes. Then you see Ademola Lookman. That hurts me so badly. You play Ademola Lookman, one of the best left wingers in European football, in world football, and definitely on the African continent. What do? Play him as a striker. So what is the benefit? But Ademola Lookman can score goals. No, that's not the point. Because the way a midfielder will score goals is different from the way a striker would score goals. Frank Lampard scored 20 plus goals. He averaged 20 plus goals for about 4 or 5 seasons. But he was never a striker. Jose Mourinho never played him as a striker because the runs you're expected to make is different. The runs you make as a midfielder, the runs you make as a striker, completely different. So when you play Ademola Lookman out of position, why? What's the benefit? What do you gain? Tolu's on the bench. If maybe you play Tolu alongside Ademola Lookman, you may be saying, okay, Ademola Lookman is not a striker, but if the ball goes into Tolu, if he wins the ball drops to Ademola Lookman can smash that ball in. But you say, no. Oh, God, no. I'm not going to do that, right? I won't do that. I'm going to play Desas. I'm upsetting. You know this style you wanted to play. 5, 10 minutes into the game, I saw the long balls. I said, okay, based on how the pitch is, that's a good tactic. But on the other hand, why are you playing Desas? Now, if Desas was your only option, this is where I would have said, oh, Desas is your only option, so you got to play what you have. But you have someone that impressed against Rwanda. And the impression I mean is keep the goal aside he scored. Keep the goal aside that Tola Rokodare scored. You could see his hold up play. How he's able to lay the ball off for people. Now, I'll switch a bit to the players because they're not without blame themselves. Just echoing for that own goal, you should have done better, man. You should have done better. Experienced defender, clearing the ball, at least at length, attempting to clear the ball with his foot that is facing the goal. What do you expect? What do you expect? And I must go back to the coach. I must go back. I'm sorry. I know lots of from the chats I can see there are people who support the coach, who sympathize with the coach. And yes, I sympathize with him. Maybe he should have been employed or hired earlier. But you know this game, super important. It's going to be aggressive. It's going to be tough. You need people who are going to fight. And then you keep all your powerful men on the bench. What are you trying to do? Now, the NFF can keep him and say, okay, AFCON, he plays AFCON. Fine, well and good. Maybe they keep him. Maybe they come up with a plan for the next, for the next couple of years. You want to keep him on. Because even if they sack him, who are they even going to get? They probably will get someone that will be worse than him. And then after we will not start crying out for the coach. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Eric Chill, nah. Toaster Chudi says Nigeria got the best players to do the job, but the coach lacks strategy. He does. The thing about African football, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And it also applies to football in other continents as well, for the most part. If you play players in their rightful position, you generally win games. You generally win games. You generally win games. Especially international fixtures, because you don't have as much time for a club coach. You're with the players week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. So you have enough time to tweak, to teach, to say, stay here. I know you're a right back, but I want you to make runs, be in the midfield sometimes, and then drop to defense when they're countering. You can do all these sort of things. But international coaches, you don't have that luxury. You have the players for maybe 4 days, 5 days. So that's not enough for you to start mind bending these players. It's not enough. So NFF, they have the blame for sure. But who is going to do anything about them? Who? They are protected by FIFA. Government don't interfere with NF, with your football federations or football associations. So who's going to do anything about them? Because they too should be sacked. I think Gusau, for me, it ranks as one of the worst, one of the absolute worst, or no, I'll say the worst NFF chairman. I think he is, in my opinion. Who can have different opinions? I think he is one of the absolute worst chairman, president, whatever you want to call it. International, dual nationals, poor. Team selection of the normal grassroots home-based players, issues. And that has what led, and then appointing the right coach, mucked around with it. We are where we are. And then one thing I want to say about the players, and this thing, it happens in European football as well, and I always scratch my head. Maybe it's because I'm ancient, but Tola Rokodare had the ball on the left wing, right? They could see him battling with the South African defender. he was going to cross that ball. Ademola Lookman, instead of making the runs towards the goalpost to put that ball in the net, what did he do? He stood away, expecting the pass to be made to him. Now that shows me someone who is not confident about scoring a goal. So honestly, Kingsley Ikenna says Finidi George does not have experience to coach a senior national team. He doesn't. He doesn't. Happily doesn't. He just doesn't. He doesn't. He doesn't. So and that's where, even when you think about who they're going to sign or who they will get outside of Eric Chill, they're going to mock it about. Maybe they'll sign Olise or somebody. Because it's always class of 94. They are the only ones that can coach. They're the only indigenous coaches that can coach a Nigerian team. So that's it. I blame the pitch, especially. Yeah, the pitch was partly to blame. It was partly to blame. It's part of what people do, of what teams do in Africa. Dark arts. Libya did theirs. They did their own bit. you know, keeping players waiting and waiting and waiting. At the airport. South Africa has done theirs. They did theirs in a subtle way, but still the same. Still with the mindset of getting an effect. So in that regard, they've done what they've done. But on the other side of things, coach man, do your business, do your business, do your business. So, but the coach has its fault. However, in my opinion, I don't think we have good players. Ibade says the coach has his faults. However, in my opinion, I don't think we have good players. Iwobi was sitting too deep and playing him 90 minutes was a crime. The ball was not getting to the front line. So now I think I agree with you in some regard and I don't agree with in some aspect. Now, of course, in that first half, the ball wasn't sticking to anybody. And it was because of the coach. Why do I say this? He wanted to play these long balls by passing the midfield in view of how poor the pitch was and everything. But who was the ball going to? Cyril Dessers. We know when it comes to physicality, he's not up there. And like I said, if maybe Victor Osimhen was your main man, Cyril Dessers was the second one, you have Victor Osimhen injured, and now you having to play, you have to play what's his face, Dessers. I understand with you. I would sympathize with you. But when you have a Tula Rokodari on the bench, you have him on the bench, right? And you've played him in a Rwanda, you played him in that game versus Zimbabwe. And how did that goal come versus Zimbabwe at home? The ball came to him, he held it up like a proper big man, held the ball up, laid it off, the cross came in, Victor Osimhen scored. That should be the first thing you should have learned. Hold up play, A1 for Tula Rokodari. Okay, you move to the Rwanda game. He came on, good hold up play. Apart from the goal, people think it's just the goal. It's apart from the goal, hold up play, was always laying the ball off for his teammates. He will go up in the air, battle with his strike partners, right? And the ball would, in moments, he dropped Ademola Lookman, he dropped to some other players in that Rwanda game. So as a coach, that should make you feel like, yeah, hold up play wise. If you want to play a long ball, then this guy, Tola Rokodari is the guy I should be playing. But no, you didn't go with him. You didn't go with him. You didn't go with him. And I know lots of people will say the coach sees them, he knows best. But one thing I want to say, if you ever go through life that way, where you don't think you have the ability to question people about their opinion, then you should look at yourself in the mirror. You can disagree with me. You can disagree with anybody. It's subjective. You should be able to look at something and be analytical and say, this guy probably is not done well. What he's doing is not right. You should be able to do that. But this one, don't question the coach. Come on. I don't know how you're feeling about this. I'm pretty upset. I'm pretty upset. How are you playing Ademola Lookman as a striker? Niger people are beg. Ademola Lookman, na striker. Ademola Lookman. When did Ademola Lookman play as a striker? For which team? Which team Ademola Lookman don't play as striker before? Then it comes to this, an important game like this, and you choose to play him as a striker. In the last game versus Rwanda, you forced him into midfield, taking him out of his comfort zone. So now I'm shocked with this country. Inshallah, next World Cup, you will qualify. You know, my brother Yassim, you know the problem? you know the problem? You know the problem? Next World Cup, when leading up to next World Cup, they're going to do the same things that they keep doing. That's the thing. That's the sad part of this. That's the tragedy. You know, the sad part is not qualifying for the World Cup, right? But the tragedy is no lessons will be learned. None. Zero lessons will be learned. That's the real tragedy. Because if after this failure to qualify for the World Cup, right, it's okay, now we're going to improve certain things, we're going to get young players, begin to integrate them into the team, and make the team good and all that kind of things, get the right players in on time, start integrating the youngsters into the team. Then you say, okay, it's sad, heartbroken, they qualify for the World Cup. But look at what they're doing. Look at the plans. Look at this. There are countries that failed to qualify for World Cups before, but they say, no, we are not going to keep failing. We are going to adjust. We are going to change, right? They are going to change. So Keep Ebit says, Big brother, you're all right. You're absolutely right. The coach had no reason to play those talented players like that. I just hope you go easy as a nation to the guy who scored the own goal. He's very good. Yeah, he's very good, but my God, that was an elementary mistake he made. The coach as well. Why do you do that? I struggle with this, right? Russell Martin, coach of Southampton, right? He will want to play a million passes out of the back. His team will keep conceding goals. He says philosophy. You see philosophy. But you see not Chelsea, my philosophy, my way of football. Teams keep losing. These young coaches are nowadays like they're more interested in how I want to play than how I win. For me, my principle is play Ademola Lookman at that left wing. If he struggles there, okay, that's your best position. No? How come you're struggling? You're not good enough. But when you play player out of position, you don't get any benefits. There's no tremendous benefit you get apart from boosting your ego. Like, oh, I played this guy, I changed the game. There's no benefit. You talk of next steps. Talk of next steps. Well, Ekong is capable of committing error. He did the same error against Zimbabwe, and today, NFL, the player that will be blamed for Nigeria failure to qualify for another World Cup. Yeah, they're to be blamed, man. They're to be blamed. The coach too. Because if it's just like you did an experiment with one thing and it worked. Then instead of sticking to it, you change it a couple of hours afterwards. Kingsley, I said, for me, that's the problem. The NFL, the players, the coach himself, you know, South Africans, you have your right to banter, banter. That's football. That's football. You win because Lord knows, heaven knows, if Nigeria had won today, I would have bantered you guys right back. That's it. That's football. So say whatever you will. Say whatever you will. Oluwakemi Aziza says they played their hearts out, but it's just too late, coupled with bad pitch. I mean, it's just sad. Yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. It's just sad. It's just sad. Just sad. And the thing people don't get is this team, this particular team, they are all going to be over 30 by the time the next World Cup comes around. That's even if they're able to qualify for that next World Cup. Even if they're able to qualify for that next World Cup, they'll be way past it. Osimhen will be 30 at least. Olaina will be 32. Just Ekong, of course, will be well into his 30s. So those start Chudi last says we didn't make it to last World Cup, losing to Ghana. Actually, we're in this action report to fix the deficiencies from corrupt NFF. Yeah, those things have to be fixed for sure. NFF, they have to be fixed. So we're going on with the charts. So Kingsley Kenna says Nigeria could have used the form they had in AFCON and continued in World Cup qualifier, but NFF delayed too long, ended up appointing Finidi out of sentiments, then Ekong is to blame. Yeah, for me, the thing with Nigerian, when they say indigenous coach, it's almost like we always go back to the same pool, to the same pool. If it's not maybe Olise, it's going to be a Guavon. If it's not a Guavon, it's going to be a Mokachi. If it's not a Mokachi, it's going to be Finidi George. And the cycle continues. I'm sure there's some of them waiting. They're happy. Oh, so now we can say the foreign coach or the Malian coach wasn't good enough. Let's come in there. That's the thing. The NFL, even if they sack him, even if they sack Eric Jail, they will still go back into that same thing. You're joining the stream. There's some opinions on the Nigeria versus South Africa game. Quite frankly, right now, super disappointing. Nigeria aren't going to qualify for the World Cup. That's done, back to back. World Cup qualification failures. Who are you blaming? The coach, NFF players. For me, they all have their own share in the blame, right? They all have their own share of the blame. 110%, in my opinion. Second spot is not going to happen. Because one thing you have to understand is, look at the second spot. Zizo said there is still a spot for second position. Don't lose hope. I enjoy your show and I understand the emotion, but give the players a shot. Look at other teams who are second. In some groups, if you take the team who are second, and drop them in this group, they will top South Africa. Teams who are second. So there's that playoff thing. And it's not every second. I don't think it's every second place team. It is best second place teams. And the way Nigeria is going, I don't think they fit into any of that. And then again, the playoff is very complicated. After you play amongst yourself, you now go on to play in a playoff with a team from South America. So, you lost to Dortmund. Did you not lose? And besides, you didn't beat anybody. Okay. So, he is the worst. He is the absolute worst. Every metric you used to judge an NFF chairman or president, he's failed. World Cup qualification failed. Player recruitment, both internal and dual national sport, he's failed. So, in all regards, all ramifications, he has failed. He's failed. Oh, Mr. Man Q, SA didn't play to win. About a draw, better luck next time. Oh, South African guys, keep your banter coming. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. Lord, if doesn't count, does not count. Okay, fair play, fair play, fair play, fair play, fair play, fair play. Talking about way forward, oh well, I don't know. I really don't know. The way forward would be NFF chairman, president gone this night. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Gone this night. Everybody sacked off. Anyway, it chooses to happen, but we know that's not going to happen. And then the chair has a question to answer because I said this about club coaches as well. When you play players out of position, you not only make them uncomfortable on the pitch, make life difficult for them, they're unable to play their best football, but you also give the people who have hired you a way out. You also give the people who have hired you a way out, an excuse. Look at him, he's playing this guy out of position, so why don't we go and sack him? And I said, I don't see the benefit. I didn't see the benefit. I didn't see the benefit of playing those players out of position. And what's even worse is that you play players, you had done an experiment Rwanda game, and you saw players that played well. What was how did you reward them? How did you reward them? By benching some, playing some out of position. Anyway, another World Cup miss. So that's it. The team to look forward to right now, guys, is the Under 20 World Cup. Nigeria will play in our first game on the 29th of September. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. We're doing watch alongs on this channel as well. Hopefully they can give us some joy. At least on the 20 qualify for the World Cup. So that's kudos right there. And of course, when the AFCON comes around, we'll be doing previews and reactions to that as well. Plus your usual content, reaction to skills and abilities of players, giving you updates and news about things happening in Nigerian football. Also talking about Premier League, Champions League, UEFA Conference League, all on this channel. So keep your eyes peeled. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit it right now. Thank you so much. Subscribe to the channel and let's keep growing together. And of course, the Uga Madu Football channel community that we are trying to build. We'll be building it because we want to cause impact, be a channel that has a social cause at its core. Of course, it's good to talk about football. Of course, it's good, to have banter. Your country won, your country didn't win, talk about club football and all. But one thing we want to achieve on this channel is to be able to affect lives, maybe by way of scholarship, by way of giveaways and things like that. And how do I want to achieve that? For me, I'm not looking for anybody to pay money to anything. I'll never send any link to anything. The only thing I want you to help me do is smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, engage, comment. Disagree with me if you feel you don't agree with my opinion. That's fine. Share the video to people you feel love content like this. That's the only support I need from you. And we also have a WhatsApp group if you want to be part of that WhatsApp group, because from that WhatsApp group we'll be having our panelists, and all that. So if you want to be part of that, sure thing. I will bring up the QR code so you can scan it if you want to be part of it. Only if you want to be part of it. So I will share this right now. So you can use your phone, scan the QR code, and take you straight up to, the WhatsApp group. That's the QR code right there. You can scan it with your phone's camera and it take you straight up to the WhatsApp group. So join there, have discussions, have banter there, behind the scenes information, and then also when we're having different programming coming up on the channel. So you can scan it and it take you right there to the WhatsApp group. Looking forward to seeing you there as well. So I'll take this off this, and let's see. There's someone in the chat. Let's see what. Kazim Adeyemo says, "Sack chill." I see your point, brother. I see your point. I see your point. Because I said this, of course, the NFF, they have their blame. Sports Commission, they have their blame. But you as a coach, what you have to do is, with the players you have, play the best players in their favored position. If they struggle in that position you play them in, then you say, okay, yeah, I played them in an awful position. I played them in their rightful position. They struggled. You can defend yourself more. You say, oh, I played Adman Lukman at left wing. He struggled. He was rubbish today. Fair play. But when you play him in a position I don't think he's ever played in his life, what do you want him to do? And on an awful pitch, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Kazim Adeyemo says as well, he says, I blame the FA for hiring him. Yes, they have their own share of the blame as well. The whole coach hiring process was pure and utter mess, in my humble opinion. So, but overall, how can we do is happen. But for the Under-20 World Cup, we will also be here talking about that as well. So, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, so we can also be part of it together. You said it's a win for Nigeria. Okay, so that's it. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been on here. You've seen my frustration. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians are frustrated with the outcome. Maybe, and I know a lot of South Africans are on here. They're super happy that their team has gotten the results they wanted. Fair play. And I know this would give FIFA the excuses to a rubbish excuse anyways, because they're going against their own regulations not to deduct those points. But there you have it. So that's what we have to work with. That's the point I made. I said you have to go in, you have to do your job, right? You have to go in, you have to win the Rwanda game. You have to go to South African game, big X mark, because you didn't do it. And everyone, they have their own share of the blame. For me, I don't really blame the player that much. Apart from just Ekong, the own goal, he shouldn't have done that, right? But everyone else, Cyril Dessers, what can you do? What can you do? Your coach has set you up to fail. Your coach set you up to fail. Every child set up Cyril Dessers to fail. Now, obviously, he wanted to win, but he played players out of position, and there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. Now, I want to say big thank you to everyone. Your support has been amazing on this channel. Those contributed, and giving your opinion, even those who are bantering me right now, South African friends, drop in their banter. Fair play, every chill. This is what you've caused. You've given South Africans the mouth to speak to me about football. You have given them the mouth. You've given them the chest. NFF, you continue allowing folks that shouldn't be discussing football with us to talk to us, to chat to us. That's fine. That's brilliant. Thanks to you, NFF. You're the big boys. Eric Chill. Thanks to you. You did a brilliant job. Brilliant job. So fair play to everyone. Thanks to everyone who has been supporting this channel. It's been amazing. I hope you join me for the programming that will be coming up on this channel. So we'll have it talking about the UEFA Champions League, the Europa League. We're talking about Under-20 World Cup. We're talking about young emerging talents, both in the grassroots level and on the global scale as well. We'll be talking about them on this channel. So we want to be part of that. Hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and let's keep growing. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you on yet another video. Do have a fantastic and a splendid rest of your evening. And Nigerians, keep your head up. Tomorrow is another day. South Africans, enjoy the result you wanted, and I'll see you on yet another video. So stay well and definitely stay blessed.